Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Postmatch. Brentford 1, Liverpool 4. Normally, a game like this, I would be a lot more happy. It was like a really, really weird feeling at the end of the game. I guess the last 20 minutes or so, where there's so much to be happy about on the pitch, but then all these injuries and question marks and stuff. And as news comes in, we'll pass it along. But I'm assuming we're not going to find out a lot more about them mostly until like tomorrow or Monday. Brian, let's start with you. What did you think of the game overall?
Uh, Endo was so immense in this match. I couldn't say how much more that he broke up play. Like I was saying in Discord right there. I want to know how many his stats for how many intercepts he had in that match. Because I mean, I think he really basically set us up for success today. Kanate was great. I mean, I think we had a very solid in the back. I mean, the one goal that came in that was a luck goal. A goal. I mean, Keller had a great save, and it was just a tap in. What could you do? Nothing about that. But I mean, Keller had a great match. So I think overall we looked really well. I thought we looked sharp. I mean, kind of disappointed about Jota. I just don't. Especially when he's on such form that he's been on. Jones, I don't even know what happened with Jones. And like you said, like there were earlier, we were talking about Nunez. I don't know whether it's a precautionary thing to take Nunez off or what happened with him. But, like I said, we'll see what happens with the news.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like that was tactical. It would be odd for him to make a tactical move like that, Mecca. So we assume there was something. Let's hope it's cautionary than anything else. Obviously, we talked before in the pre-match, right? And I was actually mentioning that despite the injuries, that bench looked pretty solid. And I think we saw that. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say that again on Wednesday, but I think it showed Mecca that it is pretty solid. We got a lot of good performances off the bench as we saw people walking off. The ones that came in basically took care of business.
Yeah, it was professional from start to finish, and it was nice to be able to put impactful players onto the field from the bench instead of, trying to figure out whether union rules allow you to play kids for a certain amount of hours a week or something like that. Like, so it was nice to have all those players. I mean, like if you're Brentford and you've already been run ragged a little bit by Darwin Núñez, and then Salah comes on. Like, for Jota, you're like, come on, lads, come on, put it on easy mode today for us, please. So it was good. I thought. I agree. Like with some of the comments that were on the Discord, like Gravenberch actually played quite well. Like he fit in more than he has fit in. Elliot is Elliot. I thought that would have been that free kick required a fantastic, almost save of the season type save there. For Elliot, he came on, he did business. Gakpo came on, he got a goal. I mean, like if you're playing against Liverpool and you see a bench like that, and you go, can we borrow a player? Let's even it up. Let's go back to the school days. Can we just have one of your better players, please? Because they're just sitting there on the bench till the 60th minute. But the only downside is we had to use them in some cases. That is literally the black mark against it.
Ryan says, I'm willing to eat my word. I can't wait till John shows up in the morning with his like Gravenberch jersey or something like that. But that was the best word. So I want to get to Gravenberch, but since Kazi is here, let's start with Nunez. And honestly, I did think the moment he chipped that, I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna hit the top bar. I thought that was gonna just come right back the chip. I didn't expect it, but I'm almost happier he did that than try to force a pass to Jota, because it would have been a tap in, and I think Jota expected that. But he did well overall and got the goal, which is why I assume, Kazi, that first of all, he got that goal that, you were always talking about, the one that gives you the lead, the critical goal, not like the third or the fourth goal.
Yeah.
But he was, was his regular self in terms of, like running around, forcing turnovers and bad passes and stuff like that. What do you make of it? And I do assume, based on that performance, that him coming off at halftime is more injury or a pain related ordeal.
1,000,000% injury. If you have two players being subbed injury, you do not take another man off for tactical on half time. There's just, and when he's playing that well, so it's 1,000% an injury. What my hope is that, remember a couple of weeks ago we couldn't really get his foot into a boot, And it could be along those lines with the swelling. Remember, it's like 2 weeks ago, he was playing through pain. And so I'm hoping it's along those lines. He's had a bit of a knock and it's just kind of hurt the foot again, where he might be able to take an injection and get through it. That's what I'm hoping it is, because really good again, really good. The finish, my reaction was Klopp's reaction, where see Klopp went in and yes, like as in say, oh, what are you doing? Like, that was my reaction. I'm like, why have you chose to do that kind of finish? But that's the type of player he is. He's just a bit mad. And to be fair, it was never going to pass. And I know Jota was there, but I actually do think Jota's foot did trail offside a little bit. Like, he tried to hold back, but his foot looked like he was off. So when I seen it on the replay, I was a bit like you. I was like, he's lucky, he should have passed. And then I looked again, and I was like, well, actually, he could have been off Jota, and then I would have been more pissed that he hasn't shot. So it's like, it's a fine balance, mate. But apart from the injuries, I think it's a perfect performance. I really do. I thought everyone played well. I thought it was a very professional place. That's a ground that Liverpool had never won at. It was the only ground left that Jurgen's never won at, which is a really nice thing for him to tick off before he leaves. I thought we were excellent. I thought everyone was really good. Mo Salah, mate, I can't describe what this type of footballer he is. How he's not the best player in the world is just the joke. He is the best player in the world. I'll argue with anyone. He is insane. His finish is a joke. His pass to Seth McAllister's a joke. He does another pass just before his finish to Diaz, which Diaz should finish.
Yep.
Which is Diaz doesn't even expect that it's that good of a pass. He's just, and honestly, mate, I hope that there's a manager who can come in who can say to him, let's get a new contract on the door here. Do you know what I mean? Because as soon as Liverpool ownership or the board make a decision on the manager, he's the fucking first person I tell. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be him. What's your feelings here? Do you know what I mean? Because my God, mate, what a footballer. Gakpo comes on, gets an assist, a goal. Brilliant. Really good.
By the way, can somebody tell Ian Dark that the goalie actually did not save that? That was a goal kick. He was still talking about it as a save at the end of the game. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like nothing worse than a 6:30 morning game than a 6:30 morning game with Ian.
I'm happy with 6:30 in the morning games. Fuck me, R4. Jesus. But no, mate, listen, perfect performance. Gravenberch, I agree. I thought he was really good. Really good. I thought, do you know what I thought, mate, which he kept it simple. And sometimes that's what I just want at my midfielders, just to keep it simple. That's why Endo's so good. She just wins the ball and keeps it simple and just does a little bits and bobs. And that's what Gravenberch did today. And I thought everyone, Bradley, excellent. Robertson, really good as well. I thought, and it says it all about Bradley, by the way, that the manager takes him off to rest him.
Yeah.
So you're in for Luton in the final. But, you know, I'm not playing Gomez. You're the man. So, yeah, I couldn't think Harley and Kelleher, two big saves. I know he's unlucky on the Tony one, on the Tony goal, because that's a great save. But the Tony header, unbelievable save as well. So, yeah, perfect performance, mate.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with that back, I guess, and then just kind of like go forward, Naka. I mean, the back five seemed like, and Keller was the concern, and like Brian mentions, he had an excellent game. And I really can't find fault. It's great to have Robertson back. You can see the impact it has. And you can see how much better Van Dijk plays actually with him next to him. Because I think there's like a lot better understanding in Van Dijk cutting balls right into his path and things like that. I mean, it seemed like that back four, and, you know, we can't talk enough about Bradley, but I want you to talk about Bradley mainly. But what did you make of like the performance of the back five?
Well, I mean, I'm always going to big up Kelleher. He's a fellow Irishman and probably should be the Irish starting keeper over Bazoon, who doesn't do the bad job for Ireland. But before I get to Bradley, just like Robertson came back in and he did the same thing as Endo and the same thing as Gravenberch. He just kept it simple today. He wasn't trying to be Robertson 2.0. It was just like, I'll just do my job. And if something breaks for me, it'll break. I thought that was almost the basis of how well we played. But I said it before the game. Like I could see like Endo Bradley being like sharing man of the match kind of a deal. He's just so good. He just has some some kind of X factor that people in years from now are going to look back at who coached him as like a younger teenager. Go, I saw it. I spotted it. I saw Brad. He was going to captain England or captain Northern Ireland to the World Cup quarterfinals. I saw it before everybody. He's just that good. He just comes in and he looks like, I mean, I hate to hark back to it, but it just reminds me of Rob Jones. Hopefully without the injury. But it just reminds me of somebody who can come in and put Ryan Giggs in his pocket on the first game and then continue like that. I'm so happy to have a player like that at Liverpool that we're not going to have to pay 10, 15 million more than market value just to get him on the books. But look, the four of them and then Kelleher at the back, like Brentford needed something a little bit like special or a bad mistake somewhere to get something. And I'd be happy with that back line going into the cup final.
Yeah. Brian, going up to the midfield there, I mean, we lose our, arguably, I know there's like different opinions, but probably like our best performing midfielder in Curtis Jones. Gravenberch comes in. I mean, what do you make of, I mean, first of all, let's start with Mecca. What did you make of Mecca? Because we talked about in the pre-match in terms of him playing in the more advanced role that he's probably more used to now with Endo back there. Like it's hated. Where are you at?
Yeah, like I had said right there with on Thursday night right there, I felt that Endo getting in there and putting Maka up on a little bit forward is you're going to start seeing the best out of Maka. I think that he's playing in his natural position, of going forward, and I think that you saw him basically you saw him play the way we saw him play last season at Brighton. So I think you're going to go there and see that type of player right there. I mean, again, it tells you with having a number 6 in the side right there totally changes the way this side plays. I mean, you had a lot more freedom, a lot more movement. I mean, even Gravenberch looked like looked a lot better right there with having a six behind him. And I think that we experimented putting Gravenberch back there at one point as a 6 right there, and we saw how that kind of failed miserably. And I think maybe that's this may be a little confidence boost for him. That being that he had a pretty solid match. But, I think that also having 2 matches off right there where he got to actually sit down and maybe get back into his head and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And get him back into it and then put him on there as a sub. You saw a different player. So, it's a shame right there with Curtis, but I think that, with losing Curtis, I think that we're probably going to wind up having a little bit more Harvey in there, depending on what happened to Curtis. I mean, if it may be something just a precautionary thing, but if not right there, then I can assume that there, because I don't think that Gravenberch, to my opinion, needs to be seasoned. He desperately needs to go out there and some time to go out there and settle with the coaching staff and get used to all the different people around him.
I think with Mecca, Kazi, like when he plays, I mean, I was looking online at halftime, and that's why I was like, I should have never done this. Looking at and people. It feels like he gets a lot more criticized when he gets caught on the ball, whereas everybody's totally okay with, like, for example, Szoboszlai getting caught on the ball when he's trying to create and stuff. I mean, obviously, when you're in a more advanced role and you're trying to do something, you are going to do some, there's going to be some mishaps, like poor passes and stuff. But, I mean, his first touch and the finish on the goal obviously is like class. But aside from that, I thought he was really good at distributing. Yes, he did get caught on the ball a few times, and sometimes he gets like physically pressed down. But I think his vision and everything, is it just the price tag that he gets criticized more? He's not as fancy as Szoboszlai. Why do you think he gets like catches more flag that, for example, Szoboszlai does when he gets caught on the ball?
It's a great question. I think it's probably the latter. Like, he's not as fancy and he's not as flair-like, and he's a bit rugged, let's say, in the way he plays. I thought he'd done a fantastic Rodri impression today. I put that I think he fouled up 9 times and didn't get a booking. And I was like, I genuinely thought, and some of his fouls are really good fouls, and I was like, I'm loving this. I'm loving those type of fouls. You know what I mean? And I love a bit of dark art in my football. Taking the right foul, taking the right yellow here and there. And I think he must have genuinely done about 9 fouls and never got booked. He was unreal for that, at least. Yeah, I think that's what it is, mate. Listen, I say the all the time on podcast because it is very important. We're not the same team as we were 4 years ago when we won the league, because that was a computer game and that was perfection. It doesn't happen. Like, this is normal football. We haven't got the most perfect of players anymore. We've got these lads who are still learning the game and still kind of getting into it. But I thought he was really good, man. And listen, the more advanced role, I'm not sold on it yet. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sold on it. When I see a type of finish, like he just did, I can get sold on it, trust me. But I am not sold on it just yet. I'll tell you why, mate. I just feel like when you're playing 2 slight midfielders, so for example, say he does like a Jones. I know Jones is quite, strong still, but I wouldn't mind McAllister and Szoboszlai for the size. Like a little, a little 2 opposites. I don't like 2 of the same and like 2 small lads trying to be my attacking midfielders kind of thing in the 8s. So if he plays alongside like a Dom or something like that, I can see it getting like, for example, he played alongside Gravenberch today, who's a big boy and gets himself about, and he played really well and he got into the game. I like that kind of as a balance. But yeah, mate, listen, I think there's no complaints today apart from the injuries. I thought everyone was really good, and if that's the thing, and it's massive going into a cup final. You got Luton at home. Hopefully we can do the business there, and then you're going into a cup final, and the injuries are the killer. The one positive is that I thought Jones was precautionary, because by the looks of his face, he felt like he was,
He did try to walk back in, like they called him back into the pitch, but he just could not put proper weight on it and came out.
I'm interested with this one, right? And I want to know your guys' point of view, because it looked like he could have played on. I think if Jota's gone off first, Jones stays on. But because Jones went off first, Jones saying, so it looks worse than it is, because it looks like Jones could have went on, and the manager went, nah, just do a precaution, so be it's the first one. But when the second one goes off, we all go, fucking hell, we're falling apart. But I think if Jota goes off first, I think he goes to Jones, go to the half-time. You know what I mean? Get to half-time and see how you feel. I think it's a bit like that. But because he went off first, it makes, you know what I mean? That's why I think Jones will be fine for the cup final. That's my, of course, I don't know, I'm just speculating. But that was the one that looks like it's a precaution. So, but yeah, mate, it's going to be interesting going forward, because with the injuries and stuff like that, we get it. We understand that we're kind of running thin. But these players that can still do the business, like look at the team that we finished with today on the pitch. Yeah. We've got fucking 12 players out. I don't think the manager started his first 11 all season. I don't think he's had them fit all season at one time when he started his first choice 11. Which is, I thought today was going to be the day that you wake up and fucking Allison's out with a hamstring and you're like, oh my God, fuck me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm super proud of them, mate, honestly. What they're doing is it's extraordinary. It really is. To be in 4 comps with these injuries and stuff like that, it really is extraordinary.
I think it talks about like to the depth of the team, really. I mean, you were talking about like seasons of the past that was like, like arcade-ish. But it was like almost like one standard lineup. I think we would argue, if at all, about one guy in the entire starting 11. The rest of it filled itself. And then obviously that was probably the issue that we ran them into the ground at the end. But there was no depth there. So the moment something went wrong, we were all in panic mode. And Mecca, when Jones goes out and Gravenberch is the one that gets up, because everybody was looking at Elliott, there was like a cumulative no on Discord from like all over the place. But then he did come in. What do you make of his performance? I feel like he has set the bar low. So now when he comes in, or maybe because we were kind of like too scared of his appearance, that anything he did positive was like, good. He's not that bad. Because he really is not. He just needs more time.
No, I think that's it. I mean, it's almost like he's trying too hard a lot of the time when he's playing. But also, I think my complaint about him is that he's a little bit lazy sometimes, that when he does lose track of the ball, he's not one of the first ones getting back to recover it, which is a vital part of our game. Whoever's nearest has to get back and defend, because all of our players could be up forward at that point. So he seemed to keep it simple today. He seemed to just like get the ball, give the ball, move, and then drop back when he needed to drop back. I do think Endo helped immensely with that in the sense that he's so responsible and plays the 6 like a number 6, that if something breaks down ahead of him, he's there and he does what needs to be done. So that probably helps a lot. So I'm happy with like I know we for Nunes, at least on the Thursday pod, we get a reputation for overly criticizing them, but we're not. We have to have things to talk about on these things. Otherwise, why do a podcast? But we want them all to succeed, as Cozzy says, week in, week out. We love the players and we want them to do well, but that doesn't mean they're immune to any sort of criticism. And today, I think Gravenberch was pretty much beyond it. I think he did really, really well. And I think Klopp apparently said it was just a knock on Jones, and Nunes just felt something. So I think we're probably going to get our positive predictions correct. I think it's probably all precautionary stuff more than anything else, except for Jota, who we think it probably has a medial ligament and is probably out for the season.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely looked bad. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Some people, nobody's perfect. None of these players are perfect. It's okay to call out a poor performance. I guarantee you, if you ask them and if they were honest, they would could tell you too that, yeah, I kind of like suck today. I mean, there are days we suck at work. But some of us more than others. But
follow on, Mark, I just said, mate, we want them to all do well. I said this in the last podcast. I'm not Darwin Nunes' biggest fan, as you know, but I want him to break fucking Ian Rush's goal scoring record. Like, because I know that means Liverpool go on and win trophies and win leagues, and I'm fucking the happiest guy in the world. We want them to do well. This, again, is something that I'm kind of getting used to with the American culture kind of thing of like, where people go, oh, he's your guy. That he's your... No, they're all my lads. They all play for Liverpool. They're my boys. Even Adrian's one of my lads because he plays for me. So, like, I'm still like, do you know what I mean? It's like I'm protective over my team.
Well, you still have more favors, don't you? In any team you support, there are some guys that maybe you stick out for more than others. I mean, that's natural.
That's natural anyway. But I still want every single one of them to succeed. Do you know what I mean? I still want like every single one of them to do well and play for Liverpool. So that's what it's like. Do you know what I mean? But if they wear the red shirt, we're all behind them, aren't we? And it's so nice. And I know the Gravenberch deserves some of the stick he's got. And he'll know that. Yeah. But again, we all know as well, they're going to give him time. Let's fucking find out what he's about. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens. But I'm super pleased with him, man. I can't get over today. I'm really, really happy. That was a banana skin on paper. It really was. Brentford, we haven't won there. A dog of a game. Fucking 3 injuries by 45 minutes. And you win 4-1. It's a fucking brilliant performance.
Another player, by the way, that I feel like gets more flack than others. Like when we look at like Nunez, people who like rush to Nunez's defense, Brian, always like talk about the work rate and the hustle and, you know, like putting other teams under pressure and stuff like that. But somehow I feel like Diaz, as much as he does that, does not get as much credit for it. He chases. I mean, one difference today, I thought, with the front three and when Mo came in as well, one thing that this team does well is there were some aimless balls kicked, you know, clear. Yeah. And it's like that determination to track that thing down and chase that thing down. That's how Mo's goal kind of comes through. That's how I think the first goal kind of comes through too. Diaz chased a lot of balls down, kind of like what do you make of like Diaz's game? I know sometimes his like he wants to do a specific pass and it just doesn't come across and stuff like that. But the skill is obviously there. But more important that what I like about him is the never give up attitude on any attack at all.
I mean, absolutely. My biggest thing I had with Diaz right there was his communication with Robbo. I mean, I thought some matches I watched them, I don't think they're on the same page. It seemed like more or less today right there, they were kind of playing in tandem right there, which made the match look a little bit better. The other thing that Diaz does right there, he does the kind of like the same thing that Sterling used to do, where he drops in, where he comes in and shoots off his right foot almost every time when he breaks it to the top of the box. It's like almost like it's like a predictable kind of thing to watch him right there. And that seemed like that today. I watched Diaz go there, make a little bit more runs to, like toward the touchline, and then try to go and drift back in and try to set up play, which is a little bit different, you know, definitely than you know some of the matches I see him right there. So, I mean, again, like I have no complaints with anybody in this match today. I mean, I think that everybody played well. I think we played pretty much as a good squad together. You know, I think that you know there was nothing that you could want anymore. But you know, again, like we talked about right there, I said during the pre-match, my man of the match right there is still going to be Endo, because I think that Endo was the one who came there and who got this match to where it was today.
Can I just ask all you lads, because I just thought about it during the game, can anybody remember Diaz ever actually crossing a ball in the air?
Can anyone ever remember him like having Salah at the back post so we can actually aim for him? Like, coming in, no one to aim for. You got Darwin Núñez doing Darwin Núñez stuff, and then Mo Salah nowhere. So it's a tough one, isn't it? But I thought he played well. I thought he was unlucky. He done a bit of skill in the second half as well when he took it on, and he was unlucky. He hit it over the bar. But again, it comes back to the work rates there for him. I feel like this is where the Darwin thing comes in when we spoke about on the last podcast Tim, on Friday, where you earn credit in the bank.
Yeah.
For example, Mo Salah goes one-on-one and fluffs his lines completely.
Yep.
Before he scores.
But according to Ian, the goalie saved that, but still.
Yeah. But do you know what I'm saying? But then you know what you're gonna get out of him. So that's where the credit comes in for Diaz. He's got to build that credit as well a little bit from fans and get his form back. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think about it actually. We signed Diaz in the January and he played with Robertson when we were going for the quadruple. 20 games, and then he was injured.
Yeah.
He's come back and then Robertson was injured. So they've hardly played probably together collectively for 25 games actually. So it's not that long really when you think about it. And the first bulk of 20 games or 15, 20 games, I'll have to do the stats on this, is probably in the quadruple season, which was fucking 18 months ago. So they're probably still learning as well. When we talk about the balance with Mane, and we were very lucky with Mane, that they're probably still learning each other's game. But I agree with Brian. I thought they were very good today, and I thought they both linked up quite well. And one knew when to go, one knew when to come back. I thought Diaz's defender was really good. I thought he really supported Robertson well on that side, which is excellent to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can like knock his work rate defensively and honestly like putting pressure on the ball as well. I mean, he goes in for every single loose ball there is full speed. And I thought he was like really good today. I think, he just has a different style than Mane. He likes to wing more. And if he's going to cut in, he wants to be cutting in with the ball. So he does not like moving inside without the ball as much as Mane did, I think. And that will that come over time? Or like I say, I thought the left-hand side functioned really well today. And I think we were able to stay wide on the right-hand side, too. So that kind of helps the cause. Yeah. But speaking of Endo, I thought actually towards the end of the game, he was kind of lucky to stay on the pitch. And I thought even Klopp kind of like warned him, you could tell, right after the fourth goal, like to keep the head in, they keep it calm. I thought he was lucky. And I thought Mecca, actually, looking at both situations, I thought they were both penalties. What do you make of those? The one that Robo basically clutters into Tony, who has the ball, like who actually doesn't have full control, but he's trying to control the ball before like Robertson knocks him over. And on the other side, Diaz gets hits on the ankle. Doesn't take a whole lot when you're trying to make a cut and somebody hits on the ankle to finally like fly off and lose the ball. I thought I was really shocked in both of them. I thought they were both going to come back from the VAR as penalties. Or am I just totally just not understanding how this game works now?
Oh no, I'm as confused as you. I think it's maybe in a different game that didn't involve Liverpool, maybe the refs wouldn't be worried about the amount of complaints that were going to come out of the manager afterwards. And so they were like, just give nothing controversial whatsoever today.
Who noticed one?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of what the rules are and what the rules aren't each week because it changes from ref to ref, from game to game, from week to week. I mean, if both of them were given, I wouldn't be upset, and the fact that both of them weren't, I'm also not upset because we win the game, etc., etc. But if one was given and the other wasn't, then we have the argument again of what the hell VAR is for if they're not consistent. So to me, it was almost old-fashioned. It was just like you got your look in one end, you didn't get your look in the other. Let's leave it at that and not make any more waves.
Yeah, like a double.
You just don't know. All I'm happy for is that ref was the centre ref today. I think he's probably the strongest of all of them. Michael Oliver. Yeah, I can never remember. I always get him mixed up with what was his name? Mark with the hair, the Newcastle lad.
Oh, not Atkinson. No, I know what you mean. Mark Clattenburg.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I always get their two names, but that was a good ref to have, I think, for those kinds of decisions because he doesn't tend to be hugely controversial for us, at least. I don't think.
The one marker on that decision, right, is the first one. The Robbo gave him exactly the same pen away to Brighton away in the last minute when we drew 2-2 like 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember this game. It was exactly the same pen.
I think it's a pen. I mean, it's a clear pen.
I'm going to use it. It's exactly the same foul. I'm sure it is. So it's a pen. If that was they're both pens. That's the thing. They're both pens. You know what I mean? So,
okay. And so I'm going nuts. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that I'm not going crazy because I was like, not every.
I mean, you are going crazy to me, just not in this situation.
Yeah, okay. Just going crazy as is.
I'll take that. I'll take that as a win.
Man, they're both pens all day. I agree with Mark 100%. And it's probably the time where it's like 2 wrongs do make a right. In a weird way. If you're not going to give one, you give the other. You see what I'm saying? So it's like 2 wrongs made a right in a super fucking weird way. But again, I as soon as he done the foul, I went, he's done that before. And I couldn't think of the game. And in my head, I was like, it was Brighton winning. Yeah, it was Brighton. We were 2-1 up last minute. Prick. But
it was kind of like odd to see that none of them came back from VAR. I thought both.
I don't think anyone was in VAR today. I don't think anyone was there. Like,
No, right? They were
Like,
waiting for something. Nothing is coming, so let's just keep going.
Here's what happened. Brentford don't have a VAR room, so
like
they
that.
work in those apartments up in that building where all the other people were watching the game for free.
Yeah, I'm like,
They had to use binoculars because the video reception wasn't as good.
I thought David Cooter booked a nice little romantic weekend for Valentine's Day, and he's fucked off. I'm not even going. You know what I mean? Like, because honestly, they're both pens. Maka should have been sent. Endo could have got sent. It was just a bit mad, wasn't it? It was all a bit weird. But yeah.
Yeah, pens. I mean, we'll take it. Like I say, if you take the injuries out, could not be a better morning overall, I think. As long as we, those injuries, at least 2 of them are good. And hopefully Jota is not as bad as we fear. But some parting words. I know, Brian, you said Endo as man of the match for you, but your parting thoughts for the game.
Just go into Luton with the same mentality. That's my parting thing with it. I think that we're going to see a lot of changes right there, just to preserve people right there for the for next weekend. But I think that we have a very good cohesion going right now, and I think that our that as a side things to do ahead of us, and I think that we're just sitting back, trying to come in there and get our heads together and just win. And I think that today was a prime example. I mean, like Kazi said, this was banana skin on paper, and we went through it with like ease, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, after the first 15 minutes, it was we basically controlled the match after the first 15 minutes. I mean, I thought that they dictated that first half part. After that, we just controlled. They really didn't offer anything.
I almost felt like Brentford approached it similar to Fulham. It's almost like a little too brave. While I applaud the bravery, I just felt like that team would have been a lot dangerous if they sat back a bit more, played a bit more close. I'm glad they didn't, but they'd be a lot more dangerous and play on the counter as opposed to letting us play on the counter. That was really weird. And also was the amount of goddamn pigeons in that place. What the heck was going on? I don't know if it was the same 5 pigeons going around and around, but every time a ball was kicked, like the work rate of those pigeons, I thought had to be applauded because they chased after every ball out there today. So.
Honestly, I watched it on UK TV, and Jermaine Genius said the funniest line he's ever said in his whole life because he's the dullest man in the world. And he said, "It looks like Richarlison's came into the stadium." And I was like, pretty good. But no, mate, listen, I thought it was a great performance, mate. Honestly, apart from the injuries, perfect. Everyone was really good. Banana skin on paper, Brentford away, 12:30, all the hits, as they say. 3 injuries before 45 and you win 4-1. I mean, I put that up there as probably one of our best performances this season. Yeah. Up there with Chelsea at home and Villa home early on, and them that was an unbelievable performance. And all the right lads scored. That's the funny part. All the right lads scored. Like, who you want to get a goal? McAllister would love a goal. Gakpo would love a goal. Salah getting back on the sheet, you know what I mean? So Darwin always. So super happy, super pleased, mate, and roll on now. You know what I mean? We got Luton at home, and let's just kick on. All the pressure's back on City. Don't beat Chelsea. Yep. Chelsea are a fucking box of anything. You don't know what you're getting out of Chelsea. Chelsea could come up there and fucking win, go 2-0 up inside 20 minutes.
Was it 4-4 their first game or something crazy, right?
Yeah, 4-4 away, yeah. 4-4 away.
Well,
and the one thing Man City do not like is a fucking crazy end-to-end game. They do not like those type of games. They are not into them. They like control. He likes controlled football. He loves it. He loves a dull 2-0. Pep Guardiola. So pressure's back on them. I know Arsenal are winning right now, but let's go. By the way, Mo Salah's man of the match.
Your Darwin report and your actually, Kazi, before you go, real quick, your man of the match.
Mo Salah by a mile. What a footballer.
Okay. Mecca, what happened to Darwin and your man of the match?
Darwin, I don't know. It was probably. I think Kazi probably has it right. Whatever was going on with his foot, that he couldn't fit into his boot. Although I don't know why we don't have different sized boots for him to try on to see which one actually fits. We're a bit cheap on that score. But for me, I'll age myself again. I kind of let go in this game. You know, I stopped trying to make Liverpool be perfect. Like in my head, this is an awkward team. They're not going to get everything right all the time, but they're going to find a way to do it. And it reminded me of the early 90s Arsenal team under George Graham with Tony Adams and Steve Bold at the back and Ray Parlour in midfield and Ian Wright up front and Dave O'Leary around and all that stuff. It was just a team that they were awkward and they won the league and they beat us to it. And I think they won League Cups as well.
Too.
But they just had players that will win you games all over the pitch. Whether it was Tony Adams with headers from corners, Ian Wright up front, Alan Smith coming on to with his 7-foot frame and his neck like a giraffe to nod one in if they needed.
David Rocastle, man.
Yeah, David Rocastle. He was a fine player as well. God rest him. It was just awkward. I stopped trying to, I stopped getting upset. Why is that pass? McAllister's losing the ball again. Gravenberg's not where he's supposed to. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out somehow. We have done it for 23, 24 games this season in the league, and we're going to keep doing it till the end. So strap in and enjoy the ride. Where it ends is where it ends, and hopefully it ends with the trophy for us. A man of the match for me is Endo. He held the whole thing together for me.
I'll go the other way. I was going to go with Van Dijk, actually. I thought he was just... And I thought it was Brentford's mistake, too. I talked about it in the pre-match. I was worried about Konate in this game. And you could see early in the game where he did struggle and gave up a couple of fouls and stuff like that. But I thought they challenged Van Dijk way too much in those long balls and air balls. And I think because it was Mape's side, was on Konate's side, it felt like I thought that was a mistake tactical for them. And he won every one of those balls. I thought he was immense today. So I'll go with Van Dijk. But yes, aside from the injuries, a perfect freaking morning. Some fat dogs downstairs eating all those snacks. Yeah, actually, now that I thought about it, I did forget about the fourth one, I think.
So
let me go. Yeah, I know, yeah. I didn't give you the 3-point one yet. I was trying to set up the post-match.
The dog just sitting there watching the highlights to make sure.
Yeah, but Cosby, they're all...
They scored 4. Did you see the fourth?
No. They're counting the goals in the highlights as extra goals. So it's now 12-0.
Yeah.
They don't know. Whatever I tell them, they believe. So I'll go give him those and give him the ones for the 3 points. And we will be back. Thanks a lot for watching, commenting. Do give us the like, subscribe, hit all those buttons down there, except the one that looks the thumb down. You can hit all the other ones. And then we will be back early Monday morning. And we'll catch you guys then. Have a great weekend, everybody. Couldn't find a better way to start it except Jota. Hopefully we'll get some good news on that as well. Have a great weekend, everyone.